Welcome everyone, welcome to another preview. This is MetalCanyon, and we'll be checking out a game by WX3 Labs called Starcom, Unknown Space. This is an early access title, just so you know, so a lot of things can and might change, there might be bugs present, and so on and so forth. And in fact, the game is coming to early access on Steam on the 14th of December, I believe. I'll put all the relevant links down below in the description. Anyway, Starcom, it really reminds me, the name itself, of Star Control. And in fact, the gameplay as well, which is only praise, because Star Control 2 is probably one of my favorite, if not the favorite games of all time. Being right up there with Fallout 2 and such, but yeah, it might just edge it out. Anyway, let me continue my last save game. This is an open world action ARPG, space sci-fi thingy game, as not exactly called by the developer, but by myself. But in essence, oh, combat music. Interesting. In essence, it consists of three main parts. One is this part where you are doing exploration among the stars. For example, we're in this sector where there's a bunch of planets, a star, there's sometimes more, there's sometimes enemy ships, there's sometimes space stations, derelicts, and so on and so forth. New things to discover. But then you can also go to various other stars. And you can do so by various other means, such as simply flying there, which would take quite a long time because the distances are pretty vast. As you can see up here, there's astronomical units. You can use these flinger gates, which fling you around these lines pretty fast. Or you can use wormholes, and possibly there are even other ways of going around. And you can see I've only been playing for a few hours, but I've only discovered quite a few wormhole generators already. And each of these planets you see, or derelicts and so on, is something that you can explore. And you explore this by having a explorer shuttle attached, and then sending the shuttle first scanning the planet, and then sending the shuttle down to the surface. So I've already explored this one, but it says the lander is only able to penetrate the lower mesosphere of the gas giant due to the extreme atmospheric conditions, where they encounter a pod of gaseous squid-like creatures. Ensign Triton attempts to make contact on a variety of EM frequencies as well as with sounds, lights, and flight patterns. Despite the creature's shy interest, there is no success. Have the team return to the ship. So, usually you will have various choices. Well, not usually. A lot of the times you will have various choices. Sometimes you will only get either there's nothing on the planet, or you might get some resources, but sometimes you have to make decisions. And so that's the exploration part. But the really cool thing is, because this is partly an RPG as well, let me just go over here. Partly because this is also an RPG, you also get crew skills. So you have crew with various skills in xenoculture, tactics, observation, engineering, biomedicine, and astroscience. So right now I'm just sort of trying to make each of them a specialist. They also have their health, which can get lowered by various negative results on survey missions. But anyway, I was talking about how there's various parts. This one is the exploration part. Then the second one is combat. So before we get to combat, here is one of those flinger gates. You basically just fly into it, and it flings you at 940.8 units of speed. I don't know exactly what these units are. They might be kilometers per second, but it is pretty nice because you can fly very fast. Comparably, we've just covered this distance in a matter of seconds, but if we were to fly there, my maximum speed outside the area of effect of these planets and stars, where the void effect would be 100%, which basically means that you can go faster than usual, would be about, what, 150-ish versus 900. So it would take a while, but if you want, you can do it. You can do it. So, let's find some combat to show you some combat. And lo and behold, there be combat. A ship is just warped in. I'm not really sure how, though. I don't know if there's supposed to be an explanation to it or not, but yeah, these guys have just warped in. It might have been through the wormhole. These guys don't really stand a chance because I've got a lot of plasma turrets. And there we go, boom, that was a big boom. Combat is pretty action-oriented. You control your ship via WASD. And I wouldn't really call it a simulation per se, but it does have a few RPG nuances. So for example, like I said, WASD to move. There is no actual sort of proper physics. If you let go of your engines, if you shut off your engines, you will come to a stop. But you can also do cruise, and you can also press T for afterburners, which are pretty darn nice, but they do eat more energy. My energy is down here. You might have noticed that it's not actually going down even if I use afterburners. This is simply because I have enough of power generation to keep this up. But if I start shooting, that power actually does go down because the reactors cannot provide enough power to power everything at the same time. The hull does get repaired constantly, which in the beginning was a bit of a strange thing for me. I thought, that's weird. So it just constantly repairs. That's not much of a challenge, but it repairs very slowly. So if you're in the midst of a big fight, you will find that the hull repair is not quite as fast as you thought it would be. So it can get pretty dicey. Anyway, so that's the second part of the game, which, like I said, is combat. Combat is very satisfying because the effects are very nice, as you could see visually, and the sounds are also on point. I enjoy it quite a bit. Blowing things up is always a joy. So let me go back to our base. Without spoiling too much, really. I mean, you get this right at the start pretty much, but the whole premise of the story is that you are part, or at least become part, of a secret mission to explore a completely new universe. So this is where humanity has built a space station because they came through the wormhole into this unknown universe. It's not a mirror universe or an alternate universe. It's just a separate universe that's somehow connected to our own. And then we get sort of cut off from the rest of humanity in our own universe. And now we have to explore, speak to various alien races, and, well, not die. So, like I said, exploration, combat, but there's also speaking to our people at the space station. Commander Yu is here. Right now, they don't really have much to speak to us about. Lab computers are analyzing some of your recent research data, so I have a minute to answer one non-urgent question. How do our universal translators work? Surprisingly well. My lab assistant told me that was a funny answer to the question. I take her word on that. This is more of a xenoculture question, which is not my area of expertise, but the general principle is that the neural linguistic hermeneutic decoder remaps symbolic meaning from holistic context. Often it must make arbitrary reassignments, particularly with proper nouns. It deforms symbols to a cultural proxy with a goal of suggestiveness combined with uniqueness. Firestar's systems seem to have a preference for Earth mythology. That's the name of my ship, by the way, which you can rename. If you have nothing more urgent, I need to return to my work. Okay, very well. So, you can also speak to them. You can speak to various alien races, like I said, but there's also one more part to this whole thing, which is collecting cargo, various artifacts, various resources, and then researching with a pretty extensive research tree. You get research points by researching artifacts, but then also building your ship. I know it's a bit of a mess, but it's very nice. It's very cool. You can build various modules. You can place them where you want. You can rotate them. So right now I've got 5 plasma turrets and 1 plasma turret Mark II here. I cannot really afford more, unfortunately. because I do not have the titanium nor the yttrium, unless I was to get rid of some of the other turrets. But yeah, everything that you build is pretty much built by you. You can completely redesign the design of the ship. You can make a different one, a new one, whatever you want. So you've got armor, you've got turrets and weapons that you can also research other ones. You've got these winglets, or small wings, technically a void control surface. Wings increase a vessel's speed in deep space, the so-called void effect. So it's nice to have these ones on long journeys. You also have the survey lander, which you are required to have. This is why this lateral thruster is in such an awkward place, but I kind of want these lateral thrusters. You've got engines, a cockpit, and a scanner Mark 1. Of course, once you research more things, you get access to better weapons, better propulsion, energy, and so on and so forth. Also bigger ships. This is currently just a scout type, but we could design a new one, but I don't have enough ethrin. I don't know if you can actually destroy the scout bridge to get that ethrin back. The nice thing is you can experiment however much you like, because anything that you put on there will take resources, but anything that you take off will give you the exact same resources back. So there is no loss. You don't have to go, oh no, I've put that in the wrong place. I don't want to get rid of it because I'll only get half of the resources back. No, you can play around with it as much as you like. There. It's also nice to get all this stuff here. The void speed is 110, not 150 like I thought. And you can simulate the heat profile, which means that now the ship is running at full capacity. The plasma guns are firing. You can see here that my DPS is going down because these plasma turrets are heating up quite a bit and thus having loss. You radiate that heat through the surrounding modules and out into space as well, presumably via some sort of heat exchangers. Okay, there. So, yeah, like I said, lots of RPG elements to both the ship and to your crew. The crew stuff is very nice because when you get to a random encounter, or not a random encounter, but you're exploring a planet, you will be sometimes using these skills, or a lot of the times even when you don't have to have a choice, but they will just chime in because their insight into, for example, xenoculture has provided you with some useful information, which a lot of the times is quite interesting. And I really do enjoy the exploration aspect. There's a lot of flying about, and sometimes not a lot happens, but when you get to a new planet, like I said, I have explored all of these stars right now, and pretty much all of the planets, I believe, that are on these stars. And not one of them, well, actually, I lied. There were a couple that were the same, but that was because they were war-torn planets. But most of all the others were completely unique, with unique graphics, very nicely drawn art, unique descriptions, choices to make. And it was just very, very enjoyable. And I've just realized I have not gone to this star here yet. Let us do so. In fact, that's from here we can go. Okay, so now you will see, let's turn on the afterburners. Now you'll see the void effect increasing as we get away from the star, and this is our maximum speed that we can achieve. Now it's decreasing again because of this planet here. We've already scanned this one, yes, and no anomalies detected. And you can also go back, see it says buried ring. So you know that there was something there if you want to perhaps revisit it. I think usually you cannot. There's this decahedron or whatever it is. It's pretty nice. A lot of the stuff in this game is actually 3D. And I have a slight suspicion that even the planets seem to be 3D models. Because on first glance you thought, oh, these are just sprites moving about. But they are in fact 3D models that look pretty nice. Also, I love the lighting. Look at that. Anyway, a void effect is now almost 100%, or was. It's decreasing now because we're getting close to these stars. Let's go for this. Oh, there must be a warp gate there because the cursor has hopped over to there. I think that's the case. So let's see if we get some combat here, or just exploration. But this is a good place to show you how exploration works. So you come to a planet, you press X to scan it. My scanner is improved, so it's much faster than usual. No anomalies detected, so we continue. There is a warp gate there. Perfect. Scan this oceanic world. There we go. Something was detected, and this is how survey proceeds. It seems some climate disaster in the past century caused much of the surface of this planet to flood. Judging from the visible technology, the planet was in a pre-space era. The team lands atop of the few tall structures to protrude above the sea surface, within which the anomaly signal originates. And look, you get the appropriate art for almost every survey I've done so far. I was actually really impressed because I was expecting just some generic but lovely art, you know, for most of these and just sort of randomize it. But no, look, it is a, well, pre-space looking city with flooding, which is exactly what it is. I'm not really sure how they did it, but so far there's been like dozens of these art, and they're not badly done art either. They're very nice, beautiful. As Ensign Glees examines the architecture, a trapdoor suddenly opens, plunging them into the briny water. Before the team can react, they are dragged off into a submerged building by crab-like creatures wielding some kind of spear guns. Fortunately, Ensign Glees' suit telemetry shows they are unhurt and still with several hours of oxygen. So now we have a choice. Have the team use their superior technology to attempt a rescue. Team's effective tactics skill is 3, somewhat easy. And have Ensign Triton try to negotiate with the aliens for Ensign Glees' release. Triton's effective xenoculture skill is 4. So this one will be somewhat easy, and this one will be easy. The only thing... Oh, it's difficulty -2. Okay. See, it says skill 7, difficulty 4, effective skill is 3. If this check has only 2 outcomes, the best outcome is 74% likely, and this one is 80. But sometimes there's other effects. So when we click on this, we're going to get a chance of, you know, how well we rolled, pretty much. And the cool thing is, we might get a positive outcome with like 60%, but if we gotten something like 90%, we might have gotten a positive outcome and something else. Maybe information, maybe a reward. As is the same for negative stuff. So it's very cool. You never know whether something only has 2 choices, a positive or negative, or more. So let's try to negotiate with them. Come on, that's pretty good actually. Via the Universal Translator, Ensign Triton establishes that the trap was meant for members of a rival group. Realizing that technological difference is not in their favor, the aliens are quite happy to release Ensign Glees along with a gift of some aluminum. There we go, 41 aluminum. That's quite a bit actually. That's very nice. Alright, we can activate this warp gate, so we have it for later. I love that sound. Oh, what's going on here? Let's check this out. I have to say... let me show you a little bit. Deja vu. These containers have similar markings to the ones spilled by that cargo ship near Maya. I wonder how they got here. Oh, this is... these containers are pretty much, I think what you destroy in the beginning. It's just so satisfying, these explosions, and this is quite the difference from the start of the game where you have a single or like 2 plasma guns. What was that? Picked up Starcom components. Interesting. Let me see. Some equipment with Starcom markings. Let's analyze this. A device for controlling xenium reactions. Since this is our own technology, we're not likely to learn much scientifically from this debris. This is usually how you get a big chunk of your research points, by analyzing various artifacts. Now, unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be a lot more with these artifacts. Sometimes you get parts of a turret or parts of some kind of a weapon that you can then find and build, but usually it just gives you a very interesting description, but not much more. And of course the research points, which you then use to research various technologies. I've seen this kind of controller used by military division in some research projects. Extremely high energy, but impractical as a weapon. Is that chirolite? It is chirolite! Oh, that is so rare. I need that very much. That is for reactors, so I can build more. Oh, wow. There's a lot of stuff here. Now, the cool thing is you don't actually have to destroy all of this if you don't want to. But if you like the explosions and you want all the stuff and components, you do. Anyway, what I wanted to say is This game really, really reminds me of Star Control 2. It is different, but also very similar in some aspects. You speak to aliens. You're exploring unknown space. You do diplomacy. You do combat. I don't know. It just brings back very fond memories. Several hundred square kilometers of this planet's surface is scarred with meteor impact craters. Most of these craters have little to no debris, the meteorite having vaporized on impact. But in some, a chunk of the slag remains. The team conducts a series of short flights in the lander, easily gathering them up. So you see here, because she has enough astroscience skill, she gives you some insight. These are obviously the result of the debris field orbiting the star. So titanium and yttrium. Oh, very nice. We can have another turret. So what I wanted to say is, I usually don't want to show too much. Oh, that was cool. Oh, these explosions are so nice. I usually don't want to spoil too much of a game on my preview videos, especially of games that I think are very much worth it. And this is the same case here. As soon as I started playing it, I was like, this is pretty nice, right? But then within the hour, as I explored diplomatic options, combat, exploration, and just the fact that there's so much unknown you can find, I love it. I really, really love it. Like I said, it reminds me of Star Control 2. The gameplay is nice. It plays nice. The graphics are lovely. The music is alright. The mysteries are very cool. I like to find out more about various artifacts and strange derelicts and technologies. And there is also, of course, political intrigue between alien races, choices to make, factions and sides to pick. So there's a lot to do out there, and I'm pretty sure, despite the fact that this is early access, but I've probably only uncovered very little of the universe here yet, because, well, I mean, I know it kind of seems unlimited, but I'm pretty sure I haven't discovered a lot yet, and I don't know. I love this game. If you like this sort of stuff, open world, action, exploration, combat with RPG elements, and you like sci-fi stuff like this, I really do recommend it. It is a lot of fun. Like I said, I've been playing it quite a bit lately, in the past few days, whenever I could find the time. And it is just a very, very fun game, even in early access. Seems pretty polished so far. There's a few things I would probably like to see added, mostly like quality of life things. But the cool thing is you can press F8, which says down below here, and give feedback right now. And I think that's going to stay there for the early access release. So, without going too far, too deep, and babbling too much about this game, all I can say is I really do recommend Starcom. Even in its current state, it is thoroughly enjoyable, fun. Just be aware that it might not be for everyone, because it does require a little bit of patience when flying about, exploring planets and so on. You won't have action all of the time. There will also be lots of dialogue, lots of exploration, lots of intrigue. So if finding out new and interesting things and mysteries and discovering them and researching them is for you, then this is definitely a game you will enjoy. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this little short preview, and I will see you next time. A big thank you to all of my Patreons, and of course, to the developer for sending me this key. Bye-bye.